Byron, Katie, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Bob. Oh, I'm just now listening to you and how valuable this program is, or, a program that can enlighten us as parents and grandparents and as human beings, to live by example, to be what we want our children to be, and to be clear about how to live that. And, of course, that's what my life is all about. Well, as you were talking about us as parents, raising our children and what we can expect as we watch ourselves live and watch them mimic us, what else can they do? And it's not that they don't have other outside influences, but we're the influences in their life. And what came to mind was my daughter. What she does the work, and she is the work. That I invite people to. It's a way to question the mind, a way to question what we're believing. And she does the work and has for many years. And now she has little Marley, this new little baby girl. And as Marley's growing up, I watch Roxanne, and she's not afraid to say no to Marley. Marley is like 4 years old now. And I watched her at 2 and 3, and Roxanne can say no to her from all the love in her heart. And the baby can dance, can throw tantrums, it doesn't matter. Roxanne just loves her unconditionally, and when she's through, she holds that no. And now that Marley is older, 4 years old, when Roxanne says no, she can trust her mom completely to mean it. She doesn't move unless other circumstances move her that seem intelligent.
And she can also trust that the love is there.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the things that I've learned, and in the parenting work that I do, I emphasize the fact that there is no more greater gift that you can give to a child than the constant, unconditional flow of your absolute adoration.
Yes.
And when you think that you have to shut your heart to go into a disciplinary state of anger and frustration, that's when you begin to stop loving what is.
Absolutely.
And that's when you start teaching your child to do the same.
Yes. No has two parts, two truths. It's like no is one truth, and I care about you. Another truth is I hear you and no. And I love you and no. And this must be very painful for you. I really get that. And no. And again, no phoniness. The truth is the first part of it. And another one, Bob, is I'm really scared. I'm frightened to hold this no. Would you please support me in it? I'm just learning how.
Now, what do you mean by is asking for support when you say no?
To ask, and I'm not talking about just young children. It'd be more like our partner.
Sure.
This is, and children could understand it too. Is please support me in this. If I tell you yes, it goes against what I know to be right.
So
and
actually,
please support me in this
instead of arguing with me about it.
How? And they join us because everyone wants to support, and so do little 3 and 4-year-olds.
One of the challenges that affect children is when they get to about the age of 18 months and they start saying no. And parents react to that with a sense of frustration, anger, anxiety. They fear that they have to now, stand up and show who's boss, when all they have to do is simply, in a loving way, deal with the no. You don't have to frighten the child to guide the child to constructive behavior.
Absolutely. And if we're if they say no and they're rude, it's the opportunity for us to look to ourselves and say, is this how I talk to my children when I'm stressed out? Or, when have I spoken to my children that way? Because someone's teaching it in the family.
Well, to me, that's the value of whenever I confront someone who's demonstrating a pattern that I don't want to say evil, but it's a pattern that I would say is either mean-spirited or just unfair, unkind, unjust. When I see someone demonstrating that pattern, it makes it really easy for me to see how I demonstrate that pattern. Because I can see how dysfunctional it is for them, and then it helps me to realize, wow, I need to be more on guard to recognize when I'm slipping into that.
Yes, and also the person that appears to be mean-minded, that is a person, in my experience, that wants to and doesn't know how to say no. When we don't know how to communicate, it becomes frustrating and it comes out as anger.
What about people who are, and we're speaking with Byron Katie, author of a number of books, including her breakthrough bestseller, Loving What Is. Katie, what about encountering individuals who seem to go out of their way, and this happens rarely, but it does happen, who seem to go out of their way to make life more difficult for someone else? Maybe they feel like their feelings have been hurt, they hold a grudge, and they're seeking revenge in some way. What about dealing with that type of personality?
Well, that would be someone that is attacking us, and we just don't know how to deal with it. So if someone attacked me, I just want to know if they're right. And if they are right, the two of us can get together and see how to improve me. And some of it could make sense. For example, if someone said, Katie, you are so unkind, you're so unfair, rather than attack, and the moment you defend, you are attacking. For example, I'm not mean. How dare you say that? Go to your room if it's one of our children. And that's the old way. The new way, someone says, Katie, you're mean, you're uncaring. I might say, hold on a moment. And then open my mind to, are they right? Am I being unfair? Am I being unkind in the situation? And if I can find it, that's the perfect opportunity to start over. But only the open-minded individual can do that, a truth seeker, someone that really wants to know the truth. Now, the new paradigm, for me, what I've discovered is to open my mind. Is it possible that they're right? And then to open my mind to it, open my heart to it, and then if I see where they're right, not only to make amends, but to join with them and say, okay, what do you suggest?
But when we're dealing with people who are going into a sort of personal attack, communicating their hurt by trying to hurt us.
Well, how can I know they're trying to hurt me? The way my interpretation of what they're saying could lead me to the conclusion that they're trying to hurt me, but I cannot know that.
So
I want to hear what they're saying, and does it apply to me? And am I going to start a war with my defense, or am I going to open my mind and see where they're right? And then if they're not right, I can listen to what they say because I could learn a lot about myself. I haven't heard a judgment in 23 years that did not serve me. That's how I grow. All pain is in the past. All pain that has ever happened on this earth, it is in the past. What I love about the past, again, it's over. And until we realize that we continue to recreate it in the moment and on and on and on to our deathbeds.
If someone engages in some form of personal attack, but in terms of our response to unkind treatment.
In terms of my response, I just want to hear that person out and open my mind to, are they right? How else am I going to grow? If I defend and argue, I am missing I am keeping myself literally from being enlightened to what I can change. I can't change the other human being, but I can change me. Now, Bob, if I'm asleep to myself, where I am unkind, where I am selfish, self-centered, if I'm not clear about that, until I get clear, I'm going to suffer in my life. But those perceived enemies give me all those places that I haven't healed yet, that I haven't taken care of yet. That's why we attack, in other words, defend.
If another person demonstrates a pattern of hurting you, let's say they're because of the way they treat you, their attitudes, the things they say, or even if they become physically hurtful toward you. I can understand going within, exploring within to find out where I can improve. But
where they are right and what I need to change, because it's what I'm not seeing about myself that is causing the stress of my life, the pain in my life. Anywhere in me, Bob, that I would not see them as a confused, innocent human being.
Right.
Anywhere I would see them as my enemy, I would question what I believe about them.
So it goes back to innocence.
Oh,
Beautiful.
My goodness, yes. No one would harm another human being if they were not believing what they were thinking.
And that uses so much of their energy to hold on to the vision of an enemy.
Oh, my goodness. Anyone that would strike another human being or be unkind to another human being, they're believing their thoughts about us. And when they do that, they have to live out of it. No choice. And when we look to ourselves, Bob, we have to live out of every idea that we still believe. Okay, so they say, someone says, Katie, you are a worthless human being.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number one, they are entitled to their belief system. If I am in a state of love, which I am, why would I change their mind? What we are believing is our whole world. No one can change their mind when they're believing what they believe. They believe it. We're fighting with a wall. That's insane. So they say, Katie, you're abusive. And I hear how they see me. And, my response is, why don't you tell me more? Because I'm really interested. Okay, so let's say I buy it. He says, let's say that he says, Katie, you're absolutely worth it. And I go, that's not fair, that's not right, you hurt my feelings, I don't want to live with you, on and on and on. Okay, now, when you're able to get still and you have some quiet, here are the 4 questions. And I'll use one that you used earlier, Bob. He wants to hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he wants to hurt me. I would write that down. And anything else like that. So he wants to hurt me. The first question, is it true? Is it true? And I'll put this out to your listeners. He, she, whatever it is, go back in your life when you experience that. He wants to hurt you. Is that true? Second question, can you absolutely know that it's true? Yes, he hurt you. Yes, all that happened. And I'm asking you, can you absolutely know that it's true, that he wants to hurt you? And then the third question, how do you react when you believe that thought? What happens to your life when you believe that thought? Now, we're not looking for the concepts that work. We're looking for the ones that hold us back, the negative concepts, like the feelings inside of you when you believe that, and the images that happen in your head when you believe that. How do you react when you believe the thought he tried to hurt you? This could be someone that you believe that about, and he's been dead for 20 years. It could be something that happened 10 minutes ago. And now it's over, and how do you react when you believe the thought he wants to hurt you? That's the third question. Fourth, and they're all free on my website. You don't have to sign up for anything to get to them. The whole thing is free, how to do it, everything. Fourth question, who would you be without that thought? Who would you be? I'm not asking you not to believe it. I'm not asking you to change your mind. I'm simply asking you to look at your life. Who would you be without the thought he wants to hurt you? Okay, those are the 4 questions. Now I invite people to find opposites. He wants to hurt me, turned around, he wants to help me. That's the opposite of hurt. He wants to hurt me, turned around, he wants to help me. How could that be possible, this monster? Okay, now settle down. Just find one example of how that might be true, just one. And I look back at my life, Bob, when I raged at my children before I found this work. I was so internally violent, so full of self-hatred. And it just poured out. I was believing those thoughts, I'm worthless, things like that. And And so when I look back, I think everything I did, Bob, when I yelled at my children, in my mind, to my mind, it was for their own good. It was always for their own good. Not one time was I ever ugly to them that I didn't believe it was about their own good. Clean your room. You know you have to do that. You always leave your socks on and on and on for their own good, so that when they grow up, they'll be orderly, etc. And my room was a mess. They were learning from my example, not my words. So on one example, the things he said, are they helpful? He said, I'm worthless. Let me make a list about where he could be right. And maybe he's not, but I'm just inviting people to open their minds. Why would he say that? He's trying to be kind. Just to find examples. And, this work will burn your identity as a victim up. To find another turnaround, he's trying to hurt me, or he wants to hurt me. Another turnaround, I want to hurt him. That's an opposite. Where is it that I have wanted to hurt him? Where is it that I have intentionally said something that I thought would hurt him? And I start making this list, because eventually when we get clear enough, there's a lot of amends to be made. Because other people can be mean if they want to. I cannot afford it. So I have to clean that up. I have to clean that up to be a clear-minded, free from the past human being. So I clean that up. So he wants to hurt me. On another turnaround, let's see, I want to hurt him. Oh, I want to hurt me. Now, where have I wanted to hurt me? Where am I excessive in the treatment of myself? Now, if a person, and I do this, Bob, if a person focused on where am I mean to other human beings and begins to take care of it, and where am I mean to myself, and I begin to take care of it, that is a full-time job. And there is not a lot of time to be mentally in another person's business. Who's mean, who's not, to stay in my business. Because when we strike out at another human being in our minds or verbally or physically, that is how we hurt ourselves. And the moment we defend our actions and justify it, we are hurting ourselves again. And we stay stuck, and there's no enlightenment, there's no freedom in it. And we do this until we get this solved with our own children, with our partners, with our parents, with our employees, with our employer. It's like that. I mean, this is a friendly universe. Einstein said so, and I have come to see that it is true 100%, and I invite people not to believe me, but to test it for themselves. And inquiry, to question your mind, to do the work. It's the way to sanity, and sanity doesn't suffer. That's the end of confusion.
And what about the quality of political discourse that we hear on the mass media?
It's just amazing for me to watch. Let's say a politician, let's say they just lie and lie and lie and lie. We watch it, we believe it, we cast our vote. Now, a person that is open-hearted, open-minded, is an intelligent person, and that's where all of us are. Everyone holds equal wisdom. No one has more wisdom than another. And when you answer these questions, you're tapping into that wisdom. So for me, I listen with an open heart. And I watch mine go, lie, 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 lie. I watch mine go, don't know. So what I do is I go to the internet and I get some reality. I go to his site, her site, their site, whatever it takes to get the reality of it. How many bills were passed? I don't care if they say they did or didn't. It is my job to educate myself. So when people say they're voting for maybe someone I'm not voting for, because I can listen to them. and I can check it out if I haven't already. And then all I have to say is, what I've heard is this, and what I found to be true is this, and where I received my information was there, and it's over. That's it. I don't have to change anyone's mind, but it is my job to come out intelligently. You know, if we are living out of fear, we cast our vote that way. And fear is nothing more than we're believing our thoughts or another human being's thoughts, which make it our thoughts. So my responsibility to know the difference between reality and imagination. In other words, a lie or imagination. And then, you know, Bob, that's the best we can do. We can vote, and that's not a little thing, to cast an intelligent vote, one that you feel good about. And I owe that to myself, to my children, and my country, and the world. Oh, you know, what a privilege.
The last question we'll have time for, and we're speaking with Byron Katie, author of Loving What Is and other books. Many of our listeners right now are being hit with lots of fear talk regarding the economy and facing situations, financial situations in their own lives where they're feeling stuck or perhaps even watching themselves lose ground. Mm-hmm. What is your advice to folks who are struggling economically at this time?
My advice, of course, is to put your thoughts on paper, all of your fears, put them on paper, like you're going to lose your entire retirement in the stock market. Is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? You're going to lose your job. Is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? How do you, and I'm not saying that you're not, but how do you react when you believe that thought? Look how fear attacks you, yourself, and your family. And who would you be without the thought? You know, I'm going to lose my money in the stock market. I'm going to be fired. And again, I'm not asking you to drop the thought or not to believe it. I'm just inviting you to peace. And in that peace, there are options that are not available to someone that is in fear. And those options, love is the power. Fear is not the power. Fear is not the great motivator. Love is.
So trust, peace, and love, not fear and hatred.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
really what it comes down to, isn't it?
That's what it comes down to.
The courage to leap into that.
Yeah.
Well, Byron Katie, thank you so much. If folks want to get in touch with you, find out about the work and all the wonderful work that you do, what is the contact information?
You know, they can go to thework.com or byronkatie.com, and it's all there. Bob, so dear to be with you again. Thank you so much for what you do and what you give.